You're watching Weekend at Gabe's and I'm Weekend Gabe. This latest episode was brought to you by the good folks over at the Ghetto Flower. Use our code W@G for an exclusive 15% discount when visiting their site. Tell them I sent you. Now enjoy the show. There you go.
Hey,
There
we
we go.
got
All
ya.
right, listen, we got it, man. Listen, he's a musician, not IT, but you got to figure it out.
Thank you all for having me, man.
How are you, man? I appreciate you giving us your time, man. You got the new record with the Johnny Jones, a frequent collaborator of yours with the Hey song out there. What is it like working with the Johnny? It seems like you guys have great chemistry together.
Oh man, he's fantastic, dude. He writes so quickly. Always super good as well. So I've known him since like for 6-7 years now. We actually have a bunch of joints together, and only 2 have made it out. But I remember one time we were here. I went to the corner store. I played him a beat, and I swear to God, it took like 8-9 minutes to go grab my snacks, come back, and he had a verse ready to record. He just moves super quick. It's always sounding good, and always great working with him.
Yeah,
I love that.
I ran into him at the Morgan Gold listening party about a month ago.
Oh shit, dude! I was there.
Oh, look at that! It's okay. Listen, there were a lot of people in the house that
Definitely.
Exactly. Go ahead, Sam.
Oh, yeah. I mean, while we're on the topic of I want to dive a little further back. But what really stuck out to me about that song, and I put it in my audience mix a couple weeks ago when it dropped, it was the chord progression. And it's so beautiful, and to watch you then on some of your Instagram videos like play it back, is that just a standard day for you? Like you just came up with that and you were just like, yeah, this is what I do. And Johnny, you want to hop on this, or was it like you knew you had something special when you laid that down?
Well, it's funny with that one, man. That actually wasn't me on the beat, but that was like 2 of my favorite producers. It's a guy named Sebastian Kamei, and then a dude named Corex. Corex is based in the city here. Sebastian is actually from Amsterdam, and we met him because he did an internship at Closed Sessions or Soundscape back when Johnny was signed with Closed Sessions.
Yeah.
And his ass was here putting in like 60 hours a week for 3 months during like some foreign exchange internship. Had a great time, and we're lucky he wanted to come back. So he comes back every year or so. I was just with him in LA in May. Super talented keyboard, drummer, producer. So I actually got to the studio at that point. We were, because he was in town, a bunch of people were there, and there was like 5 or 6 people. Johnny already had the hook done. He was working on his verse, and I kind of just like sat down and like, pulled out my phone, wrote a couple lines. Just, hey, bro, are we, what you think? Can I hop on this? And that's how that went. But with them, I mean, like Sebastian's incredible to watch, just like watch him go through the keyboard. And then same thing with with Corex. I don't even know exactly who did what, to be honest, but it was like working together, and it's like one of those like just beautiful things to see 2 people coming in and just like, all right, I did this section, I'm gonna take a break. Okay, bet I'm gonna do this section, I'm gonna take a break. And it was a good night that night when we recorded that.
That's dope.
Wait, real quick, Gabe. I want to roll back the hands of time because you stole my Johnny Jones question from earlier. Anyways, when I was looking at a recent interview that you did, and you have roots at the Old Town School of Folk Music, where your dad was a teacher, and that's where you learned to drum. Obviously, Old Town School of Folk Music is like a Chicago staple. Right. My uncle, who is much, much older than my mother, went to the Old Town School of Folk Music to learn guitar back in like the 60s. So how do you reflect on those lessons? I mean, obviously you had your father with you. I'm sure that's maybe a weird, interesting dynamic there, but how do you reflect on that being the roots of where you learned to play music?
That was super cool, man. It was, I kind of got lucky. I went to Lincoln Park High School, and they had the school right on Armitage right there. And like freshman year or so, like I grew up with him playing gigs. He still plays gigs often. And I was always kind of around the drums, messed around with like, oh, maybe I'd want to do it sometimes, played like on his set from here and there. And then when I was a freshman, he was like, I got the space open right after you get out of school on like one of those days of the week, and started coming through there. And it was really cool. Like, I feel like that's what set my rhythm in tow, you know, like I feel like everything's based on a 4 count and be able to really have that ingrained in you. I think that's been like super important for every endeavor I've done afterwards. So I feel like if anyone, like, I know piano is a great one to start with too, but if you're interested or getting into music, like I want to like if I have kids, I want to get them playing piano and drums, like just to get that really set in. Cause I think it was great, man. It helped me. That was really a great launching pad for every other endeavor that I did.
Oh yeah. And you talk about how that was like the foundation for your rhythm. And you talk about how you didn't have access to the drum kit. Like it was hard to practice at home. So you're like, well, let's just roll with Ableton. So what about, I mean, like, what was that process like? Because it's not the same. You know?
Right,
like...
right, definitely. So I messed around with GarageBand as a kid in middle school, and that probably was part of what inspired going to do those drum lessons. And you know, as I mentioned, it's like, you know, we didn't have a drum set in the crib, so like it was something where I'd get in once or twice a week. Probably could have gone more, but that was a little slot he had, and I'd get to practice maybe a couple hours a week, but then having the wanting to come home and just wanting to do more, and then like figuring out how, like, even like just on a keyboard getting that 1-2, like being able to put in drums. Like it took me forever to start quantizing, which I think is important. It's good.
Yeah,
you gotta
find the quantize button. Yeah.
I remember being so pissed as a kid that this one didn't get in the interview. I remember being like 6 months into making beats, and I was the type where I made a shitty 30-second loop, and I went and told every single person who would listen, and like and headphones over at lunch. And I remember somebody being like, bro, it's a little off, like the drum beat's off. And I was sitting here super proud about my drum lessons. I'm like, what are you talking about, man? No,
you were ready to fight it. I was putting this unstable.
I'm trying to go like, you know what I mean? So I think that just became an element where I could do that at any time. I could throw in headphones in at any time, and also just opened up the like melodic aspect of music as well, because I didn't really play keys growing up. I felt like I could put down a rhythm, but then like, you know, it was just so exciting to like oh shit, I just accidentally played like a major third. You know what I mean? I was just pressing like F, H, and K, and some shit sounded good, you know? So it really gave me an avenue to explore a lot of that. And right when I started producing too, I was also super into sampling, which like opened up the world for me in that regard too. And I think like that's what it was. Like I knew I could like hone in, and there's something special about live music, like hitting something and it makes a noise, or you know, playing strumming the string or something like that. But then just that whole world that came about from Ableton, and that gave me that access, was something that I think that's when it really clicked.
Yeah. You achieved something pretty remarkable. I think this happened during your time in high school. The Testament, you're working on that for 2 years, and that comes out, and you have like all these amazing artists appear on it, and you're doing this in high school. You know, it almost feels like unbelievable. Like, to take us into that time, because you're in the height of this resurgence of new Chicago artists like Taylor Bennett, like Superboy, and you got all these big names on there, including you know, legends like MC Tree on there. And you know, you're sitting in history class and your fucking record is going off on Fake Short Drive. You know, like, how do you equate that time? And when you think back about it, like, what was that moment like for you?
That was super special, man. And I think like as years pass, like I appreciate it more. You know, because I started working on that in high school, and like it ended up dropping my first semester at Columbia. But like, when those things were coming together,
hold on. Sorry,
Gabe
makes me, whenever Columbia is mentioned, Gabe makes me hit the air horn, because that's his alma matter. Anyways, continue. Yeah.
But yeah, no, I think like that time is probably also it was just a perfect storm. Like I was doing the drums like 2011. I'd probably been a year in, and then you know. Chance was coming out. Like I remember being at like in that line at the 10-day leaders party, because I happened to know Taylor because like we went to the same school for a year. So like I remember like oh shit, like kids our age are making music, and my friend's older brother is like kind of doing some cool shit. And then like that ends up being fucking Chance the Rapper, you know? And it was like kind of, I remember Chance pulling up to like Lincoln Park to sign posters and stuff, and it was this whole exciting time. And like it just continuing to get into the whole scene, I felt like it was right time, right place, and like a lot of passion about it. I think like, remember the first session anybody recorded on one of my beats, Chris Classic was engineering it. And it was just like crazy and lucky and, you know, a little serendipitous. And having Testament come out, because I kind of was hitting a point where it was like, I was working with a particular artist named Roosevelt the Titan, super heavy. And I'd have like a couple people that I worked with often, but I've never been the like send beats type of guy. Like I've tried it maybe 10, 15 times over the years, but I always just like getting to like show people in person or work on it in person. And the scene was continuing to build and realizing or having some awareness, like this is something really cool happening right now. And just going to shows and being, you know, paying attention to blogs and getting, you know, active with people over on that end. It was like, got to meet a lot of people that I really liked and was like, hey man, would you join in on this? And, you know, that's just how that process went. And it, man, it was just, I love that project still. And I think it's great that like, I still like it, you know. We'll see how everyone, hopefully somebody checks it out, or I'm glad you guys checked it out even. I hope that it was still hitting for y'all, but definitely has a special place in my heart.
I feel like the true test, and maybe Gabe can attest to this, is once you have kids, and if you still like it then, you know, then that's like, yeah, okay, this is good. You know what I mean?
Oh yeah.
No, it sounds fantastic. I was playing it today. It still sounds amazing. As the first,
love it, man. Yeah. That's what I want to hear.
Exactly.
You touched a little bit on collaborations, and before I get into this next question, if you were a send the beats guy, and you knew for a fact that somebody was going to open this, an artist was going to open this, who would you love to send a beat to?
Man, you know, I feel like that changes almost like on a month by month basis. Like I was talking to a friend about this. I feel like how I've been listening to music lately is I'll like, you know, find a random song or two and then just obsess over it for a couple of weeks. But I think that like there's so much good music that's always coming at us. And I feel like it would have to be like, you know, I think I could be bogus and just go, oh, Drake. You know what I mean? I'd love to. Like,
yeah, nice answer, man.
I got to give a better answer. Like, I think, man, Isaiah Rashad would still be somebody. Like, I think that would be one. I think
that would be a really good collaboration. That would. But you talked a little bit about in the other interview about like you really view your collaborators in this organic process as your friends, and you talked about it a little bit in that last answer there. And that's like, it's interesting because like, sure, that's sort of implied, like when we do these interviews, that sort of thing. But there's also like, you know, people who make client lists out of this stuff, you know, they really get down to the business, but it doesn't seem to take off for you unless there's that genuine connection with you and the people that you're working with. Why do you think that is?
You know, I think that's just because, I mean, that's the part that I love. Like, I think that there's something, don't get me wrong, I think it's great. Even if there's been instances where you might not get to link up and have like some moment together and a song comes out and it sounds great. And I still love that part too. But I think my favorite part, what I've realized over the years, is really that process and like having a moment where it's like, oh shit, that sounded really good. Hold on, let's do this, let's do that. Like, I feel like there's some kind of flow state that starts that's just, it's an incredible feeling, one of my favorite feelings there are. And I think that's one of the reasons that it really got into that like friend level, because the other thing is you can have a studio session and have two incredibly talented people and it just might not be that night, you know?
Right.
Like, to almost have that vulnerability. Like I feel like I like having that with friends where it's like, okay, like even if we don't have it this session, like that doesn't change our relationship. You know, if anything, maybe a conversation we have hanging out the weekend before is what inspires the moment that we have in the studio tonight. And I think that's why that's always been such a big driving factor for me in that collaboration aspect.
So it takes a little bit of the pressure off for you.
Yeah, it takes the pressure off. And And I feel like not just in the sense of like we need something to happen, but then also it opens things up in the sense of like not just no pressure, but there's like common stuff you could relate to, common stories, common feelings that we both experiences we share because you and I have done similar things as friends and as people, oftentimes who grew up in Chicago, or there's something kind of like connecting that we can reach on and like just build on.
So I've been reading a lot that from the time you dropped the Testament to now, you've put out like singles and short releases, and you got featured on NBA 2K1. But that you have mountains of music that is just sitting around like a Dr. Dre archive that is just ready to be put out. And we had a chance to listen to the new EP Orchid. And so there's only a couple records on there. So where is all this music sitting for it? When's it going to come out? Like what's the mission?
Absolutely. So man, it was so Orchard was so I went to Columbia, as we mentioned, stayed at the crib during that. I'm from Chicago. I was up before.
I wasn't. Sometimes I'm slow, and then I interrupt the next thing you're saying, and I apologize for that.
I was ready for it. So I didn't go to a dorm or anything. I ended up moving out of my crib for the first time, my family's place, saved up a bunch of money, went and lived with a couple good friends from high school. One of them was a producer, one of them was a video director. And we moved out like September 2019, lived on Orchard Street in Lakeview. And it happens to be the same street Lincoln Park High School was on. And I was like, that was COVID. And I was feeling like I was just starting to do a little run a little bit, starting to drop shit. And then I was kind of like, fuck, and was playing around a lot with different ideas or what I wanted to do or how I wanted to approach it. And I was coming out, or maybe like September, October this past year, I was looking at a lot of the music that we had, and I was like, there's a lot of good stuff here. So most of Orchard, 3 out of 5 were done during that time. And then I had to update it. I had to throw in a couple more records and I had to fix it up a little bit. But that was the plan with Orchard. And man, I don't have any excuses anymore. We got it mixed. I'm sending it over to master now. Like, that's the reason that had been held up. But I think like for me, there was this period of testament to like some of the more recent releases of like 2019, 2020, where honestly, that's where I was discovering I like singing and writing. And there was like a couple years there where I was slowing down on just making beats, and I was like humming some stuff along. And I think I had to gain that self-confidence to really like hit it. And there was a lot of demos there, which led to some better songs next. And then that process has kind of continued. And, where I feel like there's like 3 projects I've been a part of, but Orchard's the one that's dropping. And I haven't said that to anybody outside of like friends. It's been word of mouth. I've told some people.
Breaking.
When there's a Weekend at Gabe's exclusive,
this is a Weekend at Gabe's exclusive, man. Yes. I've never talked about that concept, and like if anyone's listening or whoever's listening, yes, that's coming in on we got the first single ready to drop. Y'all saw the track list. We're dropping Casablanca first. That's gonna come. That's probably gonna come the next month or so. Getting the cover art finished up in the mastering, but that's something I'm just excited to start sharing it because it's I don't know. As an artist, I don't know how everyone is. I listen to my stuff a lot, especially like when I get it done, trying to tweak it, but also just enjoy it. And I think like there's a moment of being like, damn, like that record I just mentioned, I wrote that at like in October or November of 2019. I'm like, damn, dude, like
right.
It's time to share it. And there's a lot of friends that have heard it, and I love that experience as well. But it's like it's good to just let that out there. And I think it's that time.
I think that's super fascinating, like for your career in general, because it was like you got the ball rolling on this thing, and then the world shuts down. And for everybody, it was obviously unprecedented. Obviously, what the fuck is going on? But for you, the ball didn't really stop rolling. Like the traction still like was there, and now you're 2 years later releasing records that were recorded around that time. I think it's fascinating how like that none of that stopped you from being great,
I appreciate it, man. And there's it's fun to get that going. And then there's another, because y'all work with Vocalo, right? Am I correct?
Gabe worked with Vocalo.
I did.
Yeah. Gotcha. Yeah. There's a friend of mine going by Hoofy Baby is how he's releasing stuff.
Hey,
we had him on.
Friend of the show, Dan Hoffman.
Oh no shit, y'all have on?
Yeah.
Listen, we initially got the invite to go out to the video shoot this week, but we didn't get the details.
Oh,
Side story about Dan. He texts me. He's like, "Hey, like, you want to be in my music video?" And I was like, "Yeah, sure." I know Gabe's like he would be down too. And then we got completely ghosted. And then I saw a shot of the music video, and I realized why we got ghosted, because it was literally like just the two of them in a church. And like that was like the shot, and I was like, you know what? Me and Weekend Gabe didn't need to be there, you know?
Yeah, it was funny because I was gonna bring him up. I'm glad y'all know him anyways. But the funniest moment of that for me, shout out to MF and Mello, man. He's a great dude. We're in the church, and I'm not like particularly religious, but like there was like 2 or 3 times where I cussed, and I'm like, fuck, dude, am I about to get struck by lightning? Like, my bad. You know what I mean? And Mello was walking past. I was saying to somebody, like, dude, I keep cussing. Like, I got to be careful. And he just looks over and he's like, bro, my name's motherfucking. So, you know, we made it out. No lightning strikes.
Do we have a drop date for Orchard?
We don't at the moment, but this is the announcement. It's coming, and I'm thinking like I'm gonna tell y'all like mid-September, and now we have public recorded content to keep me on that. So y'all hit me up in a couple weeks.
All right, mid-September. I'm gonna hold you to that. But I wouldn't be a good interview if I didn't pry just a little bit.
I love it. Well,
listen, I just want to say Geography is one of my favorite records. So once people get a chance to hear that, that's going to be, I think people are going to really feel that one. And 96 as well, because that was a great year for me. I know that was the year you were born, but for some of us that were on this planet before that. But I just think that there's a lot of heartfelt lyricism that's going on in this record. A lot of you unearthing a lot about yourself. So I think that people are going to really resonate and feel it. So I can't wait for people to get it into their headphones or wherever they listen to music. So I'm excited for you.
Thank you, man. I appreciate it. I'm so glad you guys enjoyed, and thank you guys for having me, man. This has been fantastic. Love talking.
No worries at all. Before we let you go, we want to get into some fun questions.
Oh yeah, I got one. I got a great fun question. Great fun question.
So you said in the interview that that gaming got you through the pandemic. So I was going to ask this question because we love the nerds on this show. What is the best video game of all time?
Oh, dude, don't do that to me. I feel like.
No, I'm doing it. Look at you. Recorded content on the blast. You know what I mean? If you don't say 2K, they're not going to put you in 2K23, and that's just how it works.
Right. I'm trying to 2K24, bro. 2K21 is the best game of all time.
All right.
Okay, and then one more on top of that. What's a new release that you're excited for? We got GTA 6. The concept just dropped the other day. Is there a new game that's coming out that you can't wait to get your hands on?
I've been stuck in the past, dog. That's kind of what got me started. When I was bringing it up in that interview, like I was playing a bunch of like Skyrim and like old Call of Duty. So I was pumped about the Ghost of Tsushima update, and that just came recently. So it's not necessarily new. I was super hyped about Cyberpunk, and then like everybody else, I just cried myself to sleep that night. But I think like mainly it's been those like kind of just getting the re-ups on the old games and actually trying to beat them before going on. That's what I got into with COVID. I got those RPGs, and I was like, I'm gonna like complete this shit. Like,
we're gonna get to the bottom of this. Yeah,
exactly.
I love it.
All right. My fun question is, I know your mom has always been supportive of you, and she's had a tremendous impact on your career. But I also found that she has a Twitter account that just pretty much retweets a lot of what you are doing. And so she's like, she's actively on Twitter, like supporting like your releases. And she got like almost like 1,000 followers at Mama Sims. How's it feel that support mechanism on Twitter, being an anchor for your marketing?
Dog, Mama Sims is a whole nother interview. You y'all know? Are y'all familiar with 1833?
No.
Yeah.
Event promoters, and they're like, so when we were like first starting out, when Testament was getting made, she started the Twitter and she would retweet, and it was like funny, and we were all in high school like, Noah's mom. She kept doing it, started liking other people's shit, ended up blogging for 1833 back in the day, and was like one of the like, she was like putting people on, like she was posting like fucking Smino in 2014 and shit.
Yo.
And she like, I've been out at concerts and had people be like, oh bro, are you Mama Sim's son? And I'm like, yeah. So I you know, she's a little biased, but I'm thankful I got that Mama Sim seal of approval, and I love it.
That's amazing.
Yeah, that's fantastic. That's
Noah,
so great.
Noah Sims, thank you so much for joining us tonight, man. We appreciate the time. We enjoyed the conversation. Wish you the best of luck. Please let us know when the official drop date in September out, so that we can help support and give you some love on that.
Thank you guys so much. Appreciate you having me.
All right, Noah Sims. All right, Noah Sims joining us here tonight on Weekend at Games. Listen, man, I love to see people winning. I love good people. Noah seems to be have his head on his shoulders.
Yeah, spectacular young kid, and just mega talented. So yeah, there's a lot more to come from Noah. This is not the end, and like we mentioned in the interview, that ball just keeps on rolling down that hill. You know.
Good, glad he's out there working, man. But he still got that Dr. Dre archive of like records. He needs to,
yeah, he's being selfish, huh? Weekend Gabe. You know, you gotta go to the listening party or something.
What was that? Your that series of weekend releases, mixtapes that came out like 10 years ago. He needs to do that.
Good Fridays.
I need like 3 volumes.
Sims Fridays.
I need like 3 volumes. Thank you for watching the latest episode of Weekend at Games on YouTube, brought to you by the Ghetto Flower. Make sure to also click on the links in the description for more information to our guests and access to exclusive new music from the Ghetto Flower and so much more. Make sure to also like and subscribe to the show, and also continue to share, support, and show love by clicking on any of the links surrounding my head. Thanks for watching.